Welcome to A Guided Life podcast, where we talk about all things spirit and life. I'm your host, Laura West. Through a mix of solo and interview episodes, I want to showcase all the different ways the spirit world helps guide our daily lives. Whether it's through intuition, signs, mediumship, channeling, the mystical, or the paranormal, our altruistic spirit guides and other members of our loving soul team are always there, ready, able, and willing to guide us. Today, I am joined by Stacy Nye. Stacy is the co-founder and master trainer of the Fix Code. Hi, Stacy. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm very grateful.
I'm so grateful too. I'm really excited to talk to you about the Fix Code, what it is, and how you even got involved with it. So to get us started, can you first explain what the Fix Code name stands for?
Sure. Yeah, it's an acronym, and the creator and founder, I'm only the co-creator and founder. He's the creator and founder of the actual technique and of course our company. But his name, the Fix Code stands for Fleer. His name is Daniel Fleer. And the I is for intuitive, because as a practitioner and when you're learning how to do this and become a practitioner, it's your intuition. You have to be able to connect to that intuition. And if you don't know how, we teach you how. And then the X is actually the extractioning process of what we call these parasitic programs. So you experienced it. You experienced a Fix Code extraction. So it really does feel like that. It feels like this kind of guided meditation feel. But this thing comes out, like you feel it coming out and you feel it releasing from your nervous system. And so that's what the X is for. And then codes, because it's called the Fix Code. The code is what anybody answers to the magic question. So the magic question, which again, I asked you for our mini session, and is what the person answers when I ask this question. Biggest problem you have in your life right now, when you think about it, you don't have to tell me what all the stuff is, but but when you think about that, how does it make you feel? If you could put it in one or two words, what would it be? And whatever the person answers is the code. And that code is the parasitic program that's causing all the problems. So it could be something like hurt, sad, betrayed, embarrassed, fear of failure, feeling stuck, blocked, whatever the person says, because there's 1,000 of them, right? That we're all navigating like a gauntlet through definitely the last 20 years, since the magnetics on the planet have changed and caused a lot of problems in human beings with these parasitic programs. So that's what the Fix Code stands for. And then it's a technique. So it's literally the whole package of what you experience is called the Fix Code technique. And I've got the best job in the world because I get to teach amazing people how to do this via an online training and live trainings and the whole thing. But yeah, so I'm super blessed and so grateful for my world.
Yeah, we're grateful for people like you who are out there helping people like us me, who have these things that just kind of sit and fester in our lives.
They knock us over. My journey absolutely was not planned. I did not see this coming at all. I've been a part of the Fix Code for 16 years. And for many years, we didn't have a name for it. We didn't know what to call it. We knew it would come to us, but I think it took us a couple of years to actually come up with the name, the Fix Code technique. So it was just kind of like, can you do some work with me? Or Daniel's coming over and he's going to do this woohoo stuff on you. We didn't really know what to call it. We knew it was going to come. But yeah, I got into this by fluke, didn't see it coming. In 5 minutes, the course of my life has completely changed. And it was there's definitely a spiritual contract between Daniel and I, and it's ironclad, and it was signed 26,000 years ago. So we did it. But you asked me about how I kind of got into this. I had a trauma event in 2002 that I didn't tell anybody about. At the time, my husband was hurt really badly. I told our parents and stuff because we were actually not in the country we live in. We were in another country. So we were kind of alone out there. And it was quite traumatic and it was a lot. And because it was so traumatic and so violent, I actually fell into what I call my private hell. And he fell into his own private hell. And we did not meet in the middle. Like we were spinning completely in opposite directions.
Mm.
I was getting more recluse and really quiet and very fearful. And he became like Superman and thought he was invincible. So it was like, ah, like every time he left the front door, I didn't know what he was going to do, how fast he was going to drive, where he was going to go. Like he wasn't reckless, but there was that fear in me that I'd never felt in my life. Like I'd never felt
Wow.
anything, any kind of fear like this. And it just kept growing and growing, and it became quite debilitating. And yet I told nobody. I just kept functioning. And I owned a gymnastics club. So that was, 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. I had a child. We were like, it was a lot. And then the thing that kind of tippled me over was, uh, I ended up getting separated after 20 years, which I didn't see coming. So that was kind of the last part of the last little tile I was standing on, calling my ground. Like, and it was really wobbly to begin with. But when that kind of fell out from underneath me, I wasn't holding myself together very well anymore. I was like quite weepy and not coping for very long in public, like without the tears kind of like coming down.
Mm.
But again, still not talking to anybody. So this particular night, a friend of mine walked into my office, and of course, she found me crying in my office. And she said, Stacy, I ran into a high school friend at a holistic fair last weekend, and he's doing this incredible like healing modality thing. It's his, but like it's incredible. She goes, I tried it. She said, you know everybody. In my background, I used to work for the Olympic Games. I've worked on international events, for 25 years. So I had a really good Rolodex, like I knew a lot of people around the world. So she had mentioned to him, oh, you have to meet this girl, Stacy, because she can like put you on the world stage. Like she's one of those girls, like you meet her and just things will happen for you. So that's kind of how it was introduced to me, not because I was crying in my office or anything like that. She didn't know what was going on. So he thought he was coming to meet this like superstar who could put him on the global stage. And he met a blubbering 40-year-old mom who had mascara down her face. But anyways, within the moment I met him, I knew this was now a spiritual like interaction. One of my first words I said to him was, oh my gosh, you're real? Because I had seen him in my visions my whole life as an elder. Yeah, it was so cool. Like it was just like, oh, so the two of us met each other and it was shock, both sides and he told me later that he had always felt this signature, like an energetic signature that he was looking for, but he didn't know what it meant. He didn't know anything. And then when he saw me, he's like, yeah, that's it. That's the signature I'm looking for. This is the person.
How
So,
interesting.
of course, I'm crying. I got mascara all down my face. And he sat me down very quickly and asked me the magic question and was like, wow, like, are you ever sad? I'm like, I'm really sad. And he did the work with me that I did with you. Same thing, exactly the same thing. And when I opened my eyes, I looked at him and I started swearing like a trucker, which I'm not a swearer, but man, was I swearing. I was just like, like, how did you do that? And then I quickly realized I was in the presence of excellence. Like this was mind blowing clarity, calmness. My nervous system was so calm. I could feel normal again. I didn't have this like tsunami of sad on me or rolling over me, or I felt like, oh gosh, I think I can cope. Like I have hope. And I quickly, being me, stood up and took my foot in my mouth, and it changed the course of my life because I said to him, I'm going to figure out what you just did and I'm going to teach the world how to do this. And he was like, yeah, okay. I don't even know your name. And I'm like, okay, so I'm Stacy and you are, what's your name? I didn't even know his name either. And so he told me his name and I'm like, good, business partners, let's do this. And I walked down there. Now, again, I owned a gymnastics club, so I had a job, and it was a statement that changed my life because I literally did exactly that. I have spent 16 years. Not only did he use this technique to heal me from the night of the trauma, from just crap in my life, from, fear of failure, fear of whatever, fear of succeeding, all sorts of things, we've used this technique with. And then I asked him after a couple of years of working with me, and I was watching him the whole time. Like why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you saying this? Like, he's like, okay, it's like walking around with a 2-year-old. Yeah. But I was able to take everything I learned and turn it into an online training so that all the questions that anybody could ever ask, I asked. So within maybe about 18 months, 2 years, I asked him if he could teach me. And then I learned how to do it. And the next thing I know, I have a private practice because I needed to see whether this was even fallible. Like, could one, he teach it to me? And second, could you actually make a business out of it? And I made a fabulous living. Like as a practitioner of the fixed code, I made a fabulous living. I was booked for months out. So we knew as business partners, one, he could teach this and like it was transferable knowledge and people could learn how to do this. And two, you could actually make money at this. People were interested in learning in having this as being clients. So from the business model, it was like, okay, tick, 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 as a businesswoman. So I'm like, okay, this is good. And then we decided, a friend of mine who was actually a client said to me one day, about 4 years in, she said, maybe 5 years in, actually, she said, you got to teach me how to do this. And I was like, okay, let me ask. And next thing I know, we're doing a live training and I put a little text out to everybody, all my clients, and said, there's 25 spots, thinking, no way. Like, we're never going to,
Sure,
this is
sure.
like, sure, this is going to happen. And at the time, I was just learning how to text. Like, this was like back in 2015. I was still learning all that stuff. So I did a group text site and I didn't really know where it all went, but within about, I'm going to say 8 hours of the text going out, 25 spots were gone. Like
Wow.
yeah, this was something people wanted to learn. And that was it. And that was how we got into all this. And again, didn't plan on this, didn't study this, I loved all my Celestine prophecies and I loved my, Louise Hay and all of that from the 80s and 90s and stuff. I loved all that, but never did I see myself really in the center of the new world, the new earth, like of being able to help so many people transition through raising their frequency, clearing their traumas, clearing what we call parasitic programs, and clearing their karma. Because even like, for example, the code that you and I did in your session, you took the learnings and you put them in that special place. That's clearing karma. And so this technique clears our karma at the same time of removing the horrible feeling that is kicking the crap out of us, causing cortisol. Like if you're at the age of like cortisol and insulin and all that kind of stuff, this is a magical tool for all that because it's because of the fears. It's because of the lack. It's because of like, there's a lot to those two things, but this technique can help it because the fears are gone. The lack, the lack of foundation, which is like the insulin, lack of foundation. There's nothing to hold it up. Like, and it goes up and down and up and down. Like it's not a stable environment. Insulin
Sure.
goes up and down, right? Where cortisol is like pile on. So much of our health is rooted in these horrible things. And so again, I sit back and go, I watch all my clients. I watch our students, clients, our practitioners, clients just get better and better and better every day.
Gosh, how rewarding is that?
Yeah.
So when you mention clients, who would this technique benefit? Like what would the client be experiencing for them to benefit from this technique?
Yeah. So any kind of like anxiety or block or low energy, for example, like if you have low energy, one of the first things I would ask you is can you feel powerless? Because the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between like powerless and powerless, and it's got like 40 different versions and every single person has a different version of what that means to each individual, right? So when I'm looking at low energy, there's a low power source. So it's like, can you feel powerless? Do you feel held down? Do you feel oppressed? Do you feel like, is there like, what is this heaviness, that kind of thing. So we just kind of keep ticking away at whatever's bothering you. And it could be, again, I would never know, but like if it's your husband or your daughter or your teacher or your landlord, whatever it is that's bothering you and they're triggering you in any way, this technique can help because it's not the content that's the problem. It's how you feel about the content. That's the problem. And this technique disconnects the feeling or the fear. So when that's disconnected, all of the things that you felt that way about, you no longer feel that way about. So there's thousands of stories now that in your head, in your memories, that you no longer feel that way about, because it came out of all your memories. Because it wasn't the memory that bothered you, it's how you felt about the memory that bothered you. So it's like Daniel has figured out something serious, something big, because traditional therapy focuses on the content, and the content isn't the problem. It's how you feel about the content that's the problem. So I work with 4-year-olds all the way to, I have a client that's 101 who absolutely loves this.
Better late than never.
And she came to me about 14 years ago.
Wow.
She knocked on my door and she said, I hear you can help me. Like, okay. Toodled in, sat down, little firecracker. And I said, okay, how can I help you? She says, I want to take a shotgun to my husband, and I wanted to do that for 50 years. And I'm like,
God.
okay.
It sounds like you're helping her husband more than her.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, how can I help you? And she was just angry and hurt and felt ignored. You know, he's a farmer. So he was out in the fields 14 hours a day. He cares more about the cows than he does me, you know? So again, like, it doesn't matter what the content is. It's how you're feeling. And then, so what happened with this particular woman is, of course, the husband would be dropping her off and picking her up. So a couple of times after our sessions, he finally came to the door instead of just sitting outside, you know, waiting for her to come out. He came to the door and I opened the door, and we were expecting him. And he threw his arms around me and he said, "You've changed my life. Like you've changed her life. You've changed, like, she's happy and she's not mad at me. So thank you." You know, she's not always yelling at me. But that was her life. And so there she was, like in her 80s, mid 80s, and their lives changed. I had a woman walk in with a walker and left forgetting her walker. She's never not had a walker.
So there's physical changes too.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So it lightens our heart. It heals our physical bodies. It heals our mind, our body, and our spirit. It just does. And it can be, like I said, you know, 4-year-olds to 101. Here's an example. My child was 5 when the fixed code came into our lives. He's 23 now. He only knows the fixed code. He's never known a life really without the fixed code. And his friends don't know a life without the fixed code either. So we've got little kids at ballparks, you know, or little soccer games, coming in from school feeling bullied, whatever it is. Then we go high school. So I had this group of kids who their idea of a Friday night was sitting around asking each other the magic question. You know, like, you gotta be kidding me. So I had teenagers with my phone number was in speed dial, and Friday night was usually busy, but it was like teenage trauma, you know, and drama and the whole thing. And within seconds, like, somebody was saying, call Stacy, like, just, you know, cause it was whatever. The girls were being mean, or the boys did something or whatever. And they would just text me and I'd get on the phone with them. Nobody ratted anybody out because I don't need to know. And I would just say to them, biggest problem you have in your life right now, when you think about it, how does it make you feel? And they're bawling on the other end, or they're screaming or whatever. And they would just tell me the word. I'd say, close your eyes, babe. And they close their eyes. And within 5 minutes, they're like, thank you. I'm like, okay, bye. And off they go. So this technique works for anybody, anywhere, at any time, about anything. It can be anything.
So I know the session that you did for me, which was great, and you know, thank you so much for doing that. It was pretty short, and it sounded like you said, within 5 minutes they were happy hanging up the phone with you. So, is this technique always that quick?
Some people take longer, and partly because they're in other modalities, it takes an hour, or they're trained for it to take a lot longer. Where the people that have never tried any modality before, they just do it in 5 minutes. It's just like, okay. Where I find that it's the practitioners in the healing world that really take their time. And I'm like, you don't have to. Like, your unconscious mind is working 9,000 things all at the same time. It can do this in a couple seconds. But they also want to look at it, you know, see all the things that are going on, and which is fine. But it really does.
Some of us don't have time for that.
Yeah. So I actually have my high-end clients, like my and I'm going to say, like, high executive guys and women and athletes, pro athletes, who literally have 5 minutes. Like, they're boarding a plane, or they're walking into a meeting, or they're getting in an elevator, or, you know, they're walking from one meeting to another and they need it fast. They love this. I also have clients that I do 2 codes in an hour. Like I do have hour sessions too. Like, and all of our practitioners do. Like they've all got, they have half an hour sessions, 15-minute sessions. You can, there's a whole array of styles of whatever the person wants, that within an hour, they're only doing 2 because they want to talk. They want to be heard. They want to talk about the story. They need that. And I'm like, okay, like it's your journey. And that's really our philosophy. I'm not here for you to do it my way. I'm here to support you to get to where you need to be for the deep healing. So I'm
Yeah.
fine. Like I follow the client, not the other way around. So that's one of the 1,000 neat parts about this, is that we adapt as practitioners. We adapt to the client, not the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so how long does it take to see results?
Instant. Let me ask you, can you think of anything in your past now that when you think about it makes you feel the way that you felt prior to this?
Not at
When
this
you think
moment.
about that event,
Not at this
not
moment.
at the moment?
Yeah. It's almost like so not an emotional response that it doesn't pop in my mind right away, if that even makes sense.
It does. And when I teach this, that's module 2, 3, and 4
Oh,
of why, like what happens in the mind, what happens in the physical body, what happens
yeah.
in our language, right? Like, and so it's immediate. So when people are like, I want instant results, I'm like, okay, you've come to the right place, because this will give you instant results.
Do they have to repeat it or?
No. So you
Wow.
and I will never, ever, ever, ever revisit that feeling, that fear that we did with you. You will
Yeah.
never feel that again. Now, you're going to feel something else, like something else
Sure.
might pop up, but that's just the next thing we do. So it's not like this is a one-shot deal and it's forever. Your life is solved right now. No, but it is solved when it comes to that fear. You'll never feel that fear again. So that's awesome. And I've been in this game, like I said, 16 years. And every once in a while, I'm present 95% of the time. Like there's nothing running me. I don't have fears. I don't have blocks. Nothing. I don't have any of those horrible feelings. I'm very present, and I can stay present because when I think about something, I don't have a fear pop up, or I don't feel anxious, or I don't feel hurt or sad or bummed out, or, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I can think of things without being triggered, where most people think of things and they're instantly triggered, and now they're bummed out, angry. Like you can have somebody as happy as can be, in total luxury, in a hot tub of bubbles, the whole thing. And all it takes is one thought, and they are no longer in the mood of being in there. They're stomping out. You're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Because nothing actually happened outside. All they did was have a thought of something tomorrow or whatever. And now they're tanked. So I don't have that anymore. I don't have anything in me that's going to pop up and ruin my day or ruin my moment or anything like that. I want this for everybody. I want this sense of emotional and physical and spiritual freedom that I have. Now, that 5% kicks my ass, kicks my ass, because I don't see it coming. It whoops me right, like, whoa. And I can feel it. My heart's pounding, can't hear, my ears are ringing, my eyes go googly. I'm like, wow, because I've arrived at something in my life that I've never been at before. I've never been at this level. I've never been, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I've never been in this room before, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, I can speak in front of 10,000, but I've never spoken in front of 100,000, like that kind of thing. So
Sure.
10,000 doesn't bother me at all. 100,000, one long word, and my career's over. So it's, that kind of like, oh, I've never been here before. So there's a new fear that I've never been at this frequency before.
Yeah.
So that'll knock me on my rear end. But again, within 5 minutes, it's gone. It doesn't matter how big it is. The technique works every single time, no matter how big it is, because it's only big to you, because it's a parasitic program. Yeah.
Sure.
The technique is done when 2 or more are gathered. Because of that, the way we've designed our company and our training, you will always have a support system. You will always have somebody to text. Like we've got a text chain where anybody at any time can text and say, I need some help. And then
Got it.
literally 40 people are saying, I'll help you. I'll help you. So, because it's 5 minutes. So much of my time is spent with just going, I got you. Like, here we go. You're fine. But when you do learn how to do this, one, you can help everybody that you love, but you also now have a full backing of every practitioner that's ever done this at your fingertips, that you can have your own healing. Yeah.
So what you did for me, is that the technique that everybody does?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll learn all the reasons why it works, which is
Yeah.
so cool. And
Yeah.
if you're a high knowledge person, like, someone that really seeks knowledge, this will blow your mind because it's all quantum. It is absolutely genius, which is why when I felt it for the first time, I knew I was in the presence of excellence. I knew I was like, oh no, I want this in my life. Like, not knowing at the time it was a contract that I signed 26,000 years ago, whatever. But I knew, I fell in love with it. And it has never once let me or anybody that I love or care for down. Not once.
How did it come to your co-founder?
Yeah. So that's a really cool story. So we call this the blue light story. So
Ah.
he, he had kind of been in sales. He owned, we're dating ourselves now, but he owned a video store back in the 90s, two video stores, and then he sold those and he got into pizzerias, and like, he's a businessman and he's a salesman. But he also always was fascinated with NLP, hypnotherapy. And for sales, not for anything else, but for sales.
Mm-hmm.
And back in, I think, 87, maybe, there was this nobody named Tony Robbins, like nobody knew this guy, was giving a sales conference at, one of at one of the hotels in downtown Toronto where Daniel's from. And it was $80, which back then that was a lot of money. Like, that was kind of a week's pay. Like, it was a lot of money. So he saved his money to go to this nobody's event called Tony Robbins on learning how to sell better. So he went and he was the total nerd at the front, like taking notes and like whatever. And he laughs now because Tony Robbins, of course, that he's huge. But he was on a little riser, like one of those six inches wood risers. Like, he wasn't even on the stage. He was just on this little riser that Tony Robbins kept getting, like, walking up and walking down. And he had a hand mic. Like, there's no lapels back then.
Yeah.
He had like a hand mic. And at the break, he saw how Daniel was so eager and like in it and the whole thing. And he took him aside at the break and said, buddy, like, you love this stuff. Like, I can tell you love this stuff and you'd be really, really good at it. He said, I suggest you take NLP and you take hypnotherapy. And Dan's like, done. So he, again, started to save all his money. And he was quite young when he did this. I think 22 or something.
Oh, wow.
So he was saving all of his money and he wanted to learn from the best. So he went to Hawaii to learn under Bandler and the other guy who created NLP. And he spent a month out there learning from the creator and founders of NLP and became a master and a huna and the whole thing. Like, he was all in. So he started this spiritual journey through a sales way, not this way. And then pursued exactly what Tony Robbins said. And he went and became a hypnotherapist and took all the classes and became a master hypnotherapist. Now, he's not even 25 yet. So, but he's having to practice on people to get his certifications and that kind of thing. But again, kind of all through sale, like to be a better salesman and a better businessman. And then in 2006, he had an event, which we call the Blue Light Experience, that he says that he pre-programmed in his unconscious that if anything ever bad happened to him and he couldn't handle it, kind of thing, but this blue light experience would click in, like would activate, and something bad happened to him and he was not coping very well. And he didn't really want to live anymore. Like, his whole life was gone and the whole thing. So he was not in a good place. And he was walking across the hall from his bedroom to the bathroom and he's like, I don't really know what I was going to do, but I didn't really see much past, like, my life past the bathroom, kind of thing. Like,
Sure.
I wasn't in a good place. So as he's walking to the bathroom, he said he walked into almost like a energy jello, like it was very dense. Like, he just was like a warp place.
Yeah.
And he couldn't move. He was very like in a blob of energy, like boom.
Yeah.
And it got really, really, really quiet. And then he said, I heard this noise, like, and he looked up, but he couldn't lift his head. He just kind of like lifted his eyes, and there was a a blue electrical, he says, Stargate above his head. And it scanned him and then went through the floor. And then it was done. And he was like, well, that was weird. Okay.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know if it took like a nanosecond or 12 hours. He has no clue how long it took. And then he just kind of walked back in his bedroom, got dressed. Now, he hadn't really gotten dressed in a month. So he just kind of like got dressed, went out to do the groceries for the pizza store, and just kind of got on with it. And it took him about a month of just getting back to normal without thinking anything. And then one day he had this moment of like, what was that? And why am I feeling so good? And what's happened? And then he started to look back and be like, what happened? So if that was an electrical thing, and then he went into like his engineering mind, robotics mind of like, wait a minute, like what happened here? It was like he kind of had amnesia of everything.
Sure.
And he wanted to know why. Like, so what's the power of memory? So if I don't remember, wait a minute, if I'm looking at the memory now with no feeling, and of course, how do I have no feeling? Wait a minute. I'm like, because I can see the content. I should be crushed, but I'm not. Kind of like you looking at the content for next week. You're like, there's no attach. I see it. I know it's true. I know I have to go do that, but I'm feeling nothing about it. That's how he was feeling about everything. So he started to ask Source some serious questions, and Source was answering. And he came up with this, and not a word of it has changed since he started this, since 2006. I didn't meet him till 2010. So by 2010, he was like already bored. He was like, God, yeah. So yeah, his journey is incredible. It's definitely been a hard one. Definitely gauntlet style, but that's how the people that are coming out with revolutionary, uh, like technology, like ancient technology, right? Like our company's called Ancient Gene Technologies because it is like this is ancient technology because in ancient times, we were the technologies. We didn't look outward for anything. We were the technology. And so this technique, actually, you become the technology. Like there's no gadgets or gadgets or like, I don't need anything to do this. It's me. The technique is me now.
Yeah. Okay. So I have one interesting synchronicity is before this interview, I was looking on Facebook and all of a sudden I'm getting these like Tony Robbins reels
Oh,
and I never did before. So the fact that you brought him up, it's like such a synchronicity to me.
yeah. Yeah.
That's really incredible.
Yeah. It's
And
the
then
frequency of information. Yeah.
right. And then the
Yeah.
blue light,
Yeah.
that's well, first of all, I was thinking like almost uh, like extraterrestrial technology or something with that. That's interesting. But also like for me, when I connect with spirit guides, they're blue. So there's a lot of like other side connection for me with the color blue. So anyway.
Well, we
I
call him Blue. Like that's his kind of nickname. His nickname's Blue. Yeah.
Who's Blue?
Daniel. Like that's his nickname.
No
Yeah,
way.
he's Blue. Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack here for me. So I have to sit with this. That's great. So I wanted to ask, for people who are like, okay, this sounds like it's for me. How do they connect with you?
It's wonderful. Thank you. So we have a website, obviously. It's called thefixedcode.com. And right when you get there, there's all sorts of information, like all the tabs go for if you want to learn about who we are, the programming, the becoming a practitioner, or just looking for a practitioner. So right when you open it up, there's a little phone with the little words going around and around and an opt-in. So if you put your email and your name in your email, click the button, you're going to move over to a questionnaire. And it's going to be the magic question, biggest problem you have in your life right now when you think about it, how does it make you feel? And the second page, and you just tick off, I think, as many as you want, and then move forward. And then the next page is, are you making pictures of the future going wrong? So again, you can tick them all off if you want. And then you're going to pop over to what it feels like. And then you're going to do an agreement. Just click the A, I think, move forward. And then you're going to get to a page that says, thank you, you're done, book here. And click that button. You're going to get popped over to a practitioner page. And these women volunteer their time to showcase this technique for anybody that is interested. So it's complimentary. You're allowed to pick 2 people so you can see the different styles. But yeah, so know that these women are volunteering their time to help as many people as they can to showcase this technique, that if you ever want to learn it, they'll move you in the right direction of just like So the click button, like, let's go, like, and they will guide you through it all. Uh, and they will then become your ambassador through the whole program. And if you're interested in hiring them for their sessions, do it. They're so good. And then there's also at the Ashbury Center, those are my courses that I use the Fix Code. So everything's powered by the Fix Code, but it's my journey of all the stuff I've worked through. And how I didn't know this was going to be courses that anybody was ever going to see except for the people that took the course. But what I said to my network of people, I said, I'm going through this shit. If you would like to join me, I will share my rawness, and my vulnerability. So I created these courses as I was going through my stuff. And it is raw and it is real and there's no editing and you're going to see it all and people are loving them. So, and again, we talk about, do I have any codes? Yeah, this is part of that 5% where I'm being raw and really vulnerable and yet I keep being told, keep going, like don't take those down, keep them going because everybody that takes them says it changed their life because it's a practical course. I'm not teaching you how to do it. I'm walking you through, like one of them was, passion to purpose, like ignite your passion to purpose. So I'm asking big questions, like what is stopping you from everything that you want? So that's I think that's $29. And then another one is beyond amazing. So it's like all the codes, the frequencies that are keeping us trapped in the matrix, like distraction, distortion, uh, being lied to, and we all feel those. So it's me going through all of this aha information that's being downloaded into me going, I can't do this anymore. I need this. Or one of them is the bridge to my authentic self. It's like there was a lot of crying in that one because it was hard and scary to go over that bridge. Like, what is stopping me from going over that bridge? So even though it's my journey, I'm walking everybody through these courses with me. And then when you get the course, you actually back it up and purchase sessions with one of the practitioners that went through it with me. I was their practitioner and now they're going to be your practitioner. So there's all sorts of ways to experience this, whether you're a course taker, or you want to be a practitioner, or you just want to be a client, which is great. I'm hoping to help as many people. Like I've designed it so that we can help as many people as we can.
That's beautiful. And I will definitely have that website in the show notes so it'll be easily accessible for the listener.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Stacy, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you so much for sharing this and for wanting to share this with the world.
Thank you.
Is there a final message that you wanted to share with the listener for the time that they hear this episode?
Know that it's not your fault. Like nothing is your fault. Any kind of like programming and even the decisions and the life that you're living is because of the decision, the programming that you were exposed to when you were little, between the ages of 0 and 7. So it's not your fault. If you're not living the life that you want, we can help you change that through disconnection of decisions, through horrible feelings or traumas or just whatever it is. But it is the time that we step into our authenticity. And that is the new millionaire. That's the new mega millionaire to me, is when you can truly be authentic yourself without, as my son would say, no more masking, like there's no more putting it on for the world anymore, mom. Like it's you, and he even said to me, like he was not that old when he said this to me, like you are enough. You are amazing. You don't need to mask and be anything that anybody wants you to be. You are enough. And I'm like, gosh, I love having a child from the Pleiadians. He's a Pleiadian kid. So he told me he was a Pleiadian from the Pleiadian galaxy when he was 3.
Wow.
Oh yeah. No. I knew I had a star the moment I saw him, the day I met him, that he was born. He literally had a star over his head. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I knew. So very special child. And he was here to keep me on track, to make sure that I didn't buy into all the crap, that I really stayed on my authentic self track. But that's not easy. So yeah, it's not your fault. Like stuff that you're doing or things, how you react is not your fault. It's these things. It's these parasitic programs. And this technique can help you get rid of all of those things so that you stop reacting the way you don't want to. You can react with total like, okay, you just showed me your colors. Thank you. Like, thank you for your truth. You just showed me you're a jackass. Thank you. I'm going to go now.
Yeah.
or whatever, right? Or so, yeah, lean into who you are and don't stop. And like I said, this technique can help you get there real gracefully.
Yeah. And quickly, which
Yeah,
is
quickly
great.
and gracefully. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. With no like with no somebody said this to me and it made so much sense to me. It's like that vulnerable hangover. Like when you're in a session with somebody and they tell you all, all this stuff and then they leave and they're feeling like this vulnerable hangover. There is zero. Like my girlfriend said that to me. She said, there is no vulnerable hangover here. And I'm like, oh gosh, what does that mean? She's like, I didn't have to tell you anything. I'm like, no, please don't. Because that's just traumatizing me. Like, I don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. It's almost like, oh, gosh, now I've unloaded that and now someone else
Now
knows
what?
my
Yeah.
dirty secrets.
And I
Yeah.
never need to know like as a fixed code practitioner, we don't need to know anything about any of it. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah. It's like between the person and their subconscious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the parasitic program that's causing all the shit.
Yeah. Which
That's it.
just got to go.
And it goes. In 5 minutes, it's gone. And the problems stop.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been so great, Stacey. I really appreciate you. And thank you so much for sharing this and for your time. So again, thank you really so much.
You're very, very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you.
And that was another episode of a Guided Life podcast. To connect with me via my socials or for links to my book titled Guided or my card deck called From Your Spirit Guides, please visit my Linktree site at linktr.ee/Guided West. Thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, love and light always.